found the environmental message of this book to be very compelling. And part of what makes it so special is that at this time in the 1920s, pandas were still largely unknown to Westerners. And the history is just crazy to me. So it started in 1869. You have a French missionary living in China, and he asks a group of hunters to go out and find him interesting animals. And so this group of hunters comes back to him with a number of interesting species, and one of them is a small cub, and it's black and white. So it looks like a small bear cub. This is not a living animal, it's a dead animal that's been hunted. And so they have this hide of this cub, and it's like nothing anyone has seen before. And this is particularly interesting because bears had been known for thousands of years in human history. We have polar bears that were part of early zoos, black bears, grizzlies, all known to humans, but the panda was not. And this has a lot to do with the panda itself. This is a very rare mammal, of course, even today. And so this French missionary sends this small hide to a natural history museum in Paris, and they kind of don't know what to do with it. It's missing part of its head. It's really incomplete. They can't really say what it is. And so they put it in to a vault in the museum and largely forget about it. But it gets this idea rolling. There is a panda somewhere out there. And then in 1916, you have a group of German hunters that really wanted to find this black and white bear. And so they go to China and they also ask hunters to help them and go find this bear. And they do. They come back with hides of a black and white bear as well as a living cub. And the Germans don't know what to do with this baby cub. They try to nurse it. They try all these different things, and it ultimately dies. And so they return to Germany without any evidence of the panda at all. So the legend is starting to build. People are really starting to wonder, is this actually a real bear or not? And then in 1919, an American missionary named Joseph Milner purchases the skin of a black and white panda, and he sends it to the American Museum of Natural History. And here, scientists really become intrigued because they finally have a specimen of the hide that includes the head. And so the museum announces it. They call it this rare beast from eastern Tibet. And they say nothing is known of its habitat, of its food. But yes, we think this is real. Immediately, people become very excited about this idea. All of these expeditions go out. They're eager to find the panda, to actually discover it to science, to prove that this is a real animal. And then a decade passes and no one is able to find a panda. All of these expeditions with very skilled scientists and explorers that have gone out to China, they all come back empty-handed. And so by the time the Roosevelts, the two eldest sons of President Teddy Roosevelt, decide to go out to China and do this expedition, there's not a lot of hope out there. In fact, there are some scientists who believe that this is all a hoax, that the panda isn't actually real at all. And so for the Roosevelts to go out, you can imagine that they are trying to continue their father's legacy, who was an explorer, a naturalist, someone who cared quite a bit about the environment, and really trying to find themselves. They're trying to prove themselves. They're coming in these low parts of their life when they take on this expedition. And it's just what they experience, what they find is incredibly surprising. It's not at all what you would expect.
Oh, cool. So it's going to the two sons. It's Kermit and Ted. Before they go on this expedition, what were they like as people and what were they doing before deciding to go to China?
So Ted and Kermit had a lot of pressure on them. You can imagine there are many advantages to being the sons of a famous man, but there are also disadvantages, and we see that when we look at their lives. So when Ted, the eldest son, was 10 years old, he had a nervous breakdown, and the doctors told his father, "It's because of you. It's because of the pressure that you're putting on him." And so Teddy Roosevelt, this great man, was an absolutely affectionate father. I mean, he was the kind of dad that would get down on the ground and play with his sons. He played these very sweet games. I talk about a game he played called Bear Hunt in the book, where he would hide in the house and his kids would go all through it trying to find him. And then when they did, he would just give them hugs and kisses and tickles and be very silly. He sent them very affectionate letters. He told them he loved them very often. But he also could put a lot of pressure on them.